Ciao, mi chiamo Ariel. I'm Ariel and welcome to the Dependable Pleasure Cooking Show. I'm a student at the University of Pittsburgh studying communication and Italian studies. I've had the pleasure of studying abroad in Italy 2 times now, and other than studying, I pretty much ate my way through that whole country. And I still do that today in the US. When I'm not cooking or eating, I'm probably thinking about what I'll be cooking or eating next. I know as a college student it can be difficult to find the time and effort to make yourself a beautiful meal. But I found that food is therapy and that it's something you can always rely on. So if you've had a bad day, it's worth it to come home and make yourself a beautiful meal and maybe share it with your roommates. Today, we're going to make a simple Italian staple called carbonara, and you can make it in your very own kitchen. Let's begin. Let's talk about the ingredients. First, you're going to need generous amounts of salt and black pepper. You'll also need, as usual in Italian cooking, extra virgin olive oil or just regular olive oil. You're going to want to garnish your pasta with some sort of fresh herbs, so I have some chopped parsley here. For the sauce, we're going to use 2 eggs and Parmigiano Reggiano, which is Parmesan cheese. Also, we're going to add some frozen peas that will heat in the microwave. Typically, carbonara is eaten with spaghetti or bucatini, but pappardelle is my favorite pasta. It's a little bit wider and flatter than those noodles, but just make sure that you use a long noodle so that it can pick up the sauce. Lastly, you're going to want some bacon or pancetta. Here I have bacon, it's a little bit cheaper, and you can see that I've already pre-cooked it so we can use it later. All right, our first step is to just boil a pot of water. That's pretty easy, but you want to make sure that you generously salt your water. Do not be shy here because otherwise your pasta is going to taste like mushy cardboard. Our second step is to make the cheese mixture. So first we're going to start by measuring out 2/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. Now you'll notice that I'm not using any heavy cream in this recipe. And that's because the traditional Italian carbonara doesn't actually use cream typically. And that's more of an Americanized recipe. And I gotta say, I really prefer it without the cream. It's less heavy and a little more guilt-free. Next, we're gonna go ahead and crack our eggs into the bowl. And then we're gonna whip them up into a nice mixture. We're gonna go ahead and add just a dash of salt and then generous amounts of black pepper. Our third step is to cook the bacon. Obviously, I've already done that because it takes kind of a long time, but my recommendation for you is to cook the bacon on low heat. It's really easy to burn bacon, so you wanna make sure that you're cooking it slowly and being patient, which is very hard when you're cooking bacon because you want to eat it. My other recommendation is to make sure that you're ladling the fat out of the pan into a glass or metal jar, or else you're going to have a lot of problems with your plumbing if you dump it down the sink. Clearly, I've ladled it into a coconut oil jar, and it looks a lot like coconut oil, so I might play a prank on my roommate later. Next, once the bacon is to your preferred texture, which is maybe halfway in between crispy and soft, you're going to want to take it out of the pan and put it onto paper towels. While you do that, keep your pan heating on low. I know that seems odd, but we're going to use it soon. Next, I want you to take your bacon and chop it up into bite-sized pieces. Once your pot has come to a rolling boil, you're ready to add your pasta. Now, this pasta calls for 6 to 7 minutes until it's al dente, which means firm to the bite. In the US, we often cook our pasta way too long, and then you have a plate of mush. So I recommend knocking that down maybe 1 minute and checking on it periodically to make sure that you don't cook your pasta too long. Once you think your pasta is ready, you have to check it. So we'll do a taste test now. Yeah, that noodle is ready. Okay, so you have to act fast because we don't have a lot of time. You want to take your pasta off and dump it into a strainer. While you do this, you can give yourself a pasta facial, I like to call it. Get some of that steam. Turn off your burner. You won't be using that pot anymore. Shake off a little bit of that extra water. And now we're gonna use that pan that we've been heating that we cooked the bacon in. So I'm gonna throw this pasta in the pan. There we go. And now you have to act really fast because we have to put the egg and cheese mixture in while the pasta is really hot so that it cooks your egg. So add all of that and start mixing it up. Once you've mixed that up a decent amount, we can add the bacon and our peas. And give that one more good mix. Make sure you noodle your pasta real good. Now that your pasta is ready, you can serve it up into a dish. And then you want to garnish your pasta with a little bit of chopped parsley, and we'll add a little bit more cheese. Quick and easy. And if you want to dress it up a little bit, I recommend Francia Sunset Blush as a wonderful wine pairing. I hope that you enjoyed watching the first ever Dependable Pleasure Cooking Show. I know I enjoyed making this pasta. If you want to make carbonara, you can find it on my blog in a link below. Happy eating!